The Prime Minister, Chewy, said, no, didn't look at it. No, wasn't worth my time. And interestingly enough, he said that on News Talk ZB, the show he goes on every single week. More often than not, he goes on it in studio. And I'm just mentioning that as an interesting point because, Jack Tame started his show with an interesting kind of chat about Christopher Luxon.
We will have that in a moment. But first, a quick note. This is the final Q&A episode of 2025. We had been hoping to bring you a feature interview in studio with Prime Minister Christopher Luxon, but that won't be happening this year. Now, to be clear, back in March, he did a shorter interview focused on trade with the One News political editor during his trip to India, and we were assured at the time he would join us for a normal, broad-ranging Q&A interview. Those assurances have continued all year. We check in with the PM's team regularly, but despite a standing invitation, they told us last week that actually the Prime Minister would not be fronting here this year. It should be noted, other Cabinet Ministers also refused to be interviewed on Q&A this year. These include Foreign Minister Winston Peters and Social Development Minister Louise Upston. We think there is a vital democratic function in interviewing and challenging politicians of all stripes in a longer and more sustained format than the standard daily news cycle allows. We hope they will agree to come on Q&A in 2026.
Now, you asked the question, why wouldn't they go on? So what I did was I went to our page, Q&A. I went to our page. I went to Big Hairy Network, and I searched Q&A in the Big Hairy Network. And what came up was things like Nicole McKee fact check by Q&A. Chloe on Q&A failed to answer questions we would expect. David Seymour looks out of sorts on Q&A. What else we got? Christopher Luxon's abysmal performance on Q&A with Jack Tame. Nicola Willis on Q&A was embarrassing. Jack Tame made her look like an amateur. Willie Jackson on Q&A getting grilled by Jack Tame. Climate Change Minister Simon Watts, train wreck Q&A interview. Now, I know we're putting those words on there, but they're pretty fair descriptors. And so now you think about Louise Upston. Wonder why she doesn't want to go on Q&A. Wonder why the Prime Minister doesn't want to go on Q&A again, Chewy. Yet, sitting opposite Rolex-wearing Mike Hosking to talk about poverty.
Every fucking week.
Every single week is laughing and joking. I think it's a really interesting observation just to put out there.
Yeah, like I think he's an absolute coward. And I think this comes to something that I put up on Blue Sky the other day, is the attitude that this government has brought to the table is we don't give a damn about public opinion. We're just going to push through all the negative press, all the negative feedback. We are just going to keep doing what we believe we have the mandate to do. Rightly or wrongly. We have commented at every stage, whenever we cover a Q&A interview, whoever it is, whether it's Hitkins or someone in the government, that Jack Tame will catch you out. He does not ask a question that he doesn't know the answer to already. Now, we've seen Luxon in the media. We've seen how he performs. We've seen how he'll keep going back to his buzzwords, and that's it. Jack Tame would eat him alive.
Yeah. And I mean, as you saw from what
we can't put this guy in front of people. So we're just going to keep on putting it off and putting it off and putting it off.
And as you saw by our titles of our clips, he did it to Chloe, he did it to Willie, he did it to these left-leaning politicians as well. He's not. That's why I think Jack Tame is one of those politicians. And to be honest, not that we're comparing ourselves to Q&A or Jack Tame. That's why when Ingrid Leary last week had an absolute balls up, we needed to call it on her absolute balls up, because that's what you do, Whānau. You can still support one team and go, hey team, you got it wrong this time. You can still play sports ball, and if one of the members on the team is not doing the best job they can, you can still say to them, hey, you as a part of our team, you're not performing as well as you should, so we're going to replace you, or you need to pick up your game. And in some levels, I think that it is it is our responsibility to be harsher against our team. And that's because we want our team to win. And if we've got big gaps in the back line or whatever it is, and we don't fix them, then we lose. There's an old adage of iron sharpening iron, right? Meaning like rubbing swords together to make both of them sharp. It's a horrible sound. It makes all sorts of sparks. It grinds. It doesn't sound or feel good, but it makes both things you're rubbing sharper. And I think that's what happens in a healthy democracy as well. I know that we are an echo chamber on some levels, but we're not an echo chamber like the right accuse us of. Like, we're not an echo chamber that will say we're only good and you're only bad. We're an echo chamber because we approach the world from the left, right? We do. We're unapologetic about that. And most people watching are on the left. We're unapologetic about that as well. But when the left cocks up, I mean, some may say we actually go harder on them. Just because we might hit the right more than the left, it's one of two things. Either we're biased and we let everything go, or the right are just that much worse than the left.